headline in the Washington Post read, "This team is so good, no one will play them." Well, St. Francis Academy launched their football program back in 2009 after a gift from a rival coach at a prestigious private school. That coach and his team, the Gilman School, beat up on St. Francis every single season. In fact, all the teams in the Maryland Interscholastic Athletic Association pounded the Panthers year after year, every single week. In 2015, St. Francis didn't win a conference game, but across town there was a shakeup at the Gilman School and the entire coaching staff, after 19 seasons and 13 championships, left Gilman. They would all come back together again, but this time it was at St. Francis. That staff includes Biff Poggi, an independently wealthy entrepreneur. He says God has shaped him his whole life to coach at St. Francis.
Coach Poggi and focus on the academics. That's why us, the players at St. Francis, are always ready when we go to college.
Poggi co-head coaches with one of his former players. Henry Russell played for Poggi from 97 to 1999 at Gilman. In his first year at the helm of St. Francis, Russell's Panthers went from 0-10 in the conference to 10-0, losing only to two national powerhouses, IMG Academy and New Jersey's Don Bosco Prep. Most of the conference scores were close, or relatively so. So what happened? In 2017, the Panthers ran over their MIAA A-conference schedule in lopsided games. They lifted the MIAA trophy for the first time in school history, but that would be the last.
Last year was very tough on everybody.
Over the next year, all of their MIAA opponents declared in one way or another they wouldn't play against the Panthers.
We kind of got blindsided a little bit by it.
The complaint is that St. Francis recruits players from other states. They say the players at St. Francis are just too big.
If size mattered, the elephant would be the king of the jungle.
James Corum's son is only 5'8". He is arguably the best player on the Panther roster.
He's got the heart of a lion, and that's real talk.
Blake Corum is a senior running back, and he's committed to the University of Michigan.
I fell in love with Michigan, the coaches, Jay Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. I like the running backs there already. We talk quite a bit. And I figure we have something special.
Friday night, he scored 3 touchdowns and ran hard against a Simeon team that held its own for much of the game. The Panther defense dominated their side of the line with a handful of 3- and 4-star recruits, and they shut out Simeon 55-0. Defensive end Chris Braswell is headed to Alabama next year. Jordan Tolles to LSU playing safety. Luke Hill is headed to Oregon. He's at the left corner. Dominic Bailey to Tennessee at defensive tackle for the Panthers. Damon Clowney on the right side defensive end will be joining Jordan Tolles at LSU in the fall. He is the younger cousin of NFL star Jadeveon. And there are a bunch of uncommitted supers at St. Francis as well. Middle linebacker Aaron Willis is as visible as any. He's just a junior. Coach Russell was pleased with Joseph Bray, Jamon Dumas-Johnson, who had a pick in the game, and a bunch of other good plays.
Good to see those guys, being able to get the ball and do some good things with it.
Poggi loves these kids. He prays with these kids, mentors them, teaches them to believe in themselves. He teaches them to be good husbands and fathers.
Just puts that in us every day, every second he can, and it's just meaningful for me.
Who wouldn't want their son playing for this guy? There's more to this story, and we're going to follow up with multiple segments. For instance, 18 of the top 300 players in the country are on the roster here at St. Francis Academy. That's nearly 6% of the best players in the land on one team. There's a coaching staff that turns boys into young men. And in a conference where decorum and acumen are supposed to be the common thread, the most junior institution with the least amount of tradition had to show all the others what true class looks like. Like us, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter at JoeBall777 and on Facebook /HighDefHigh. Way atop the DMV. For HDHS, I'm Joe Ball.